It's time for another episode of The Oil Stream with Dustin Nielsen and Tom Gazzola, presented by Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen.
Well, happy Family Day Monday, everyone, and no better way to wrap up the day than with our Oil Stream family. Dusty and Tommy Gazzola with you, as always, brought to you by Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen. Tommy, what are you sipping on over there, buddy? What do you got there?
Oh, this is Sea Change the Wolf.
Ooh, ow, ow,
Very good.
Ow,
ow, ow, ow. Very
the
good.
Wolf. What type of beer is that? What is that? What is that? Like
hazy
I think I've had it on Beer of the Week. Okay, a hazy pale ale.
Hazy pale ale. It's very good.
Nice. Sea Change does some good stuff, man.
Yeah, they do. I like their blonde.
They've got great labels too.
Yeah, they do.
On those cans. Yeah.
The Wolf I introduced it to my dad today, and he was a big fan, and so I had one left over, and I was like, you know what? May as well.
Have that during the Oil Stream. You look like you just finished recording an episode of Wild TV with like the flannel shirt, like a hunting toque or something. I like it. It's good.
Yeah. Thank you. It is, it's a rustic day. It's a rustic day. I think this is one of the shirts Wild TV gave me to wear because they're like,
well, it makes sense then.
More like an outdoorsman, and I was like, well, I don't have anything that makes me look like
you could definitely chop down a tree right now, buddy. I'll give you credit for that. So that's good.
You know, as much as this might surprise people, I actually can. I actually can. I don't like
humble
the outdoors.
brag.
Yeah, I don't like the outdoors. I never did. We were forced to camp until I was about 15 or 16, and I had to learn all that shit.
Last time I swung an axe, this is a true story too. I almost cut off part of my calf. And this was like 20 years ago. I don't think I've used an axe since because it's so damn dangerous. But I went to swing, missed the wood, came down, sliced my leg on the follow through. Like it was. Oh, I'm so pathetic. But anyway, look, this is not like an emergency episode by any stretch of the imagination. No. But we didn't have a chance to do it on Friday. I was out of town. First ever out of town tournament for Marshall. I can see why parents like going on out of town tournaments. My goodness, it was a great time. I had a great time. It was really fun. And but then I got home today. I was like, man, we might as well bang out an episode because we haven't had a chance to talk about the back-to-back 3-goal losses. And Tommy, not 3-goal losses, 3-goal blown leads. Yes. I'm sure things went over relatively smoothly on your post-game show the last few games.
Define relatively smoothly. People are already hating this team again. It's been 2 weeks since the end of the All-Star break / bye week, and they hate this team again. A lot of expletives, a lot of this team's going nowhere, a lot of this team's not making the playoffs. And it's funny, they have one loss in regulation in the last 15, and people are just like, this team sucks.
That is kind of crazy, right? It's just like, but we know it. It's like this all the time. Like the whole season is like this, right? Like it's insane. Plus, I mean, these were 2 brutal ways to lose hockey games.
Yeah,
like,
they were. I mean, this last week in Oil Country, I haven't seen it this bad. Like any small thing you tweeted out or said, like I got frickin' murdered this week for saying that Puljujarvi might be sick or there might be a trade in the works. And people
when he didn't practice that day.
Yeah, and like I'm like, am I the only one getting just absolutely raked over the coals for that tweet? And I looked and everyone else was too. And I was like, oh, okay. But there's like this small group of loud, obnoxious, dumb Oiler fans that always have to just shit on the media. And they're ridiculous. So they don't speak for the majority of the fan base. I know that. But they were just claws out.
People are so, I mean, it's like, it's almost this perfect storm where the team looked really good. Now, we said it. We knew it coming up. The schedule was pretty soft. They should take advantage of it. They did. But the team looked really good, combined with, like, the the pressure to make a move and the rumors of all these big names. And even though people have expectations for it, it's financially almost impossible. But then the Leafs pull the trigger on a 3-way trade, and that just cranks things up. And then Jesse Puljujarvi is apparently going to be waived like 9 days in a row. And instead they keep him and send down Holloway, and Holloway gets hurt. And now they're running short lineups. It's like, I guess I can see why everybody's just like, ready to pop a gasket or blow a gasket or whatever gaskets do, Tommy.
You blow them, and they've been blown in this part of the world. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's crazy. And the Oilers and the management team has no one to blame but themselves for backing 100%. Themselves into this once again. Game 1 of the regular season, they played shorthanded due to cap implications. Game 57 of the regular season, they played shorthanded due to cap implications that they created or let linger yet again. By game 57, you should have this shit figured out. They do not have this shit figured out. Do something. I know Desharnais was sick. He was not available. They send Holloway back. They bring Yamamoto in. And then they don't do anything with Jesse Puljujarvi. The coach clearly doesn't trust him. They play him 8.5 to 9
8.5 minutes. And he hasn't hurt you. He's got a couple of assists the last few games.
I know.
I don't know why he doesn't get 12 minutes. You know, it's weird to me.
And that's where I say the coach.
And they've been blowing leads while he's sitting there watching. Like, I don't get it.
And that's the thing too, is like you get one of those all hands on deck type of games yesterday against Colorado, and you get the buy-in from the bottom guys, and they give you scoring. Yeah. They give you solid 5-on-5 play.
They help get you to a place where you're on top, right? Like
when you're up, and I know Colorado's going to pour it on, but these guys, they're buying in. They're giving you everything they can to gut out this one game, and then you tell them to sit down for the third period, and you see that happen. That's demoralizing. That's bad asset management. That's bad. It's coaching scared, I think, and ultimately it leads to a blown point again.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, you're not even roll the lines, but you mix in Shore and Puljujarvi or whoever it is when you're running the 11 forwards, you're shorthanded anyway. You get in a pretty good spot, and then you're up 3 and you sit them down. It doesn't make sense to me. And then, Leo, let's tie this into the Boston Pizza Appetizer. A week from tomorrow, we'll be at the Capilano location. It'll be a 6 o'clock start for the Oil Stream. So Capilano, Boston Pizza. It's our second time being there. We'd love to have you come out. Happy hour 2 to 5 every day, and then again from 9 until close. Tommy, what are they doing with this roster situation right now? I mean, it seemed like, yes, the Puljujarvi is going to be traded. He's going to be waived. There's no way you're going to play a shorthanded roster just to keep Jesse Puljujarvi around. But they're doing it. Like, it does, like, something doesn't add up to me. I don't understand this. Especially even when you play him, the coach doesn't play him. So I don't get it.
It's beyond puzzling and baffling. Like, it's like enough already. I said it on the post-game show, like, do something. And this poor kid in Jesse Puljujarvi, whether you love him or you hate him, you're toying with him now. He wants a fresh start. Give him a fresh start, because when you play him, you barely play him. He has no confidence. Like, make a decision, because not only is it hurting this player and
it's hurting your team
and his growth, it's hurting your team. And you're literally putting yourself a man down because of this indecisiveness. Now, the only thing I've been told is that, and when he was sick, or had that maintenance day a few days ago, and we're all speculating, because you should have seen us at practice. We're running around. We're trying to understand what the hell is going on. It was funny at practice. Like, I even was like, oh, this is one of those crazy days. Here we go.
There's always like a handful of them on the year, right? Like, that's what that is. Yeah.
And that was what? Wednesday, Thursday, whatever it was. And
it was Thursday, because I was not going to be into work the next day. And I was like, if he gets traded or waived and I'm not in the next morning, I'm going to be pissed.
So all I can say about this is they were contemplating waiving him, but then what I was told too is that there's a sense that they could still make a deal, that they could still find a trade for Jesse Puljujarvi.
But now you're running your team short-handed to what? Get a 4th or 5th round pick? Like, yes. I don't get it.
I know. And then the stuff that CJ put out the other day
about the contract stuff,
that's just ridiculous.
Well, we have to talk about that. Like, what is this?
I don't get it. Like, maybe they just said, do we sign him and then trade? Like, where in the world, or how would Jesse Puljujärvi even agree to any type of contract extension with this organization at this point?
Why would he do that? You're right, 100%.
Why would he do it?
Yeah.
It makes no sense for either side. Maybe it was discussed or brought up. Sure. Broached, I think CJ was the term that he used. Maybe it was, but like, it just logically, why would Jesse do that? And why would the Oilers do that?
Yeah, that made no sense. None.
And if people are going, well, because he's a good player, the Oilers don't utilize him.
They don't use him. He's got 3 points in his last 5 games. He's playing 8 minutes a night. So
they've helped dig the hole for him.
Yeah.
100%.
It's so somebody just in the live chat over on Twitter basically just said, well, Dusty, they can't move him because he's got no value. But Tommy, just waive him and send him down then if nobody's going to claim him, right? Like, that's what I mean. Like, there's a way to move this player off your roster and dress a full roster.
Yes.
And for some reason, they're like not doing it. And I don't get it. I don't understand the management of this. Like, I don't get it.
Unless there's a stubbornness, and I don't know for sure. I don't deep dive on this side of it.
Yeah.
That they think, well, he's a 4th overall pick 7 years ago. We need to get something back for him. Otherwise, we embarrass ourselves. I think we're beyond that.
Kind of embarrassed yourselves already with this thing. You're dressing a lineup that doesn't have enough players. Like, you're embarrassing yourself already because of your cap management. And then on top of that, I mean, you also did this to get Yamamoto back in the lineup. Yep. And he hasn't pissed a drop either, right? So
he's been hurt and he hasn't played well. He's popped up with a goal or 2 here or there, but it has not been a great season for Yamamoto.
Even Maddie posted a tweet about Yamamoto today. And I looked in the replies and there were people being like, Maddie, you've seen the lights. So I don't know what happens here, man. But this roster management is it's ridiculous. I mean, usually they would run with 11 forwards anyway, but they'd have the 7D. Now you're running with 6D and 11 forwards, and you're not even playing 2 of the forwards for more than half the hockey game. So bizarre situation that they certainly find themselves in right now. Also been linked to Patrick Kane again, which I guess, instead of blowing a 4-1 lead, maybe they would have had a 5-1 lead, and they could have blown that instead with Patrick Kane on the team. Tommy, Patrick Kane has not looked like Patrick Kane this year. Patrick Kane, to me, does not really improve them much offensively because they're already lights out offensively, and he doesn't improve them defensively. I still don't understand that connection, man. I don't get that either, really.
It's far-fetched. It's just like...
I love the head shake, buddy. I love it.
Don't hold your breath. That's they're telling Patrick Kane to just shut it down for next year. Like that, he's been nicked up all season long. We're seeing Jonathan Taves, who's dealing with long COVID and other symptoms of all that. It's still not clicking for him. And people are telling Patrick Kane to just shut it down for the year. It's so unlikely. Like, you want Carlson, but now you want Kane this week. Well, that one was crazy. So's this one. I haven't had any chats since the summer about this Patrick Kane stuff. I haven't heard anything since. I suppose crazier things have happened in the NHL, but that's another one in the Erik Karlsson column.
Everybody wants it's the letter K. They want Karlsson. Probably not likely, but who knows? They want Kane. Doesn't make any sense. I've been sadly joking for the last month that it's going to be another K. Kulikov back for another run. That would be the most disappointing deadline ever. Like, Jared Smithson thinks that's a bad deadline. It's it's tough.
Oh, and to all the people that have been ripping me saying I never get one, well, I get a lot, but I get a lot of them right. But Kulikov was one I actually got right a couple.
You got that one right. There you go.
So
We'll
that's
take that
another
one. We'll
I'll
take that one.
It's a crappy one, but I'll take it.
These last couple of games, and we got a bunch of questions, and we'll get to those. I know one of those questions is these last couple of games, is it more on the defense falling apart or simply Jack Campbell not playing well as these leads slipped away, Tommy? What would you say to that?
Well, I would say that Campbell made some great saves and then let in some really soft goals. I'll say that right off the top. I would also say that what Warren Fogle said post-game was quite interesting, if you want to use a lack of a better term. He said that we don't need any more goals. It's about defending, and the forwards need to do a better job of helping out the defense. Again, something you and I have discussed about 40 times on this show this season, and he finally just said it. And listen, my ears peaked and perked up when I heard that. Matty Cassian's did too. Gager called me after that, and he's like, is he calling out the big dogs? And I thought about it for a second. I'm like, well, they're the ones that have been pretty bad defensively the last little while, pardon me.
No, that's fair.
And like he's been on good teams. He understands what it takes, and he finally just said it. Like, we're not helping out the defense. So this defense isn't great to begin with.
Yeah.
You're getting goaltending that's a little bit shaky now, and then the forwards aren't doing their part to help out.
Well, it's like this. Shane on Twitter says, when's the last time Campbell lost a game in regulation? It's on the forwards / the centers. I actually think the answer to this question is it's on everybody. Like Campbell certainly could have played better these last couple of games since the All-Star break. His numbers have been shit. And we know that this forward group, when they're not engaged defensively, they're awful defensively. And then the blue line you mentioned has been very hit and miss at times. There's no doubt about that. So as much as we get asked to single it out and try to figure out where it is, this is an overall package deal, man. It just is.
Yeah, it's somebody texted into the post-game show yesterday, and they kind of nailed it. It's like, hey, I know Draisaitl and McDavid are the two leading scorers in the league, and they've combined for almost 200 points this season. But when you're a combined -1, there's a problem there. Are
they combined -1 now? I haven't looked at the stats since Thursday morning show.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I know there's expected goals for, and I get all that.
Yes.
Yeah. But that's a basic number. Like, you've been on the ice for more goals against than you have been for, which is.
And I read that text, and I'm like, nailed it. Summed it up nicely.
It's yeah. I mean, shocking. I don't know what else you're supposed to say there. All right, let's get into some questions that have rolled in here so far. We'll do this. We'll do this for Cool Bet. I mean, if you do want to bet on the Oilers and Flyers tomorrow, you can do it with our partners over at Cool Bet. Stay cool and bet responsibly. We already kind of hit on this one. What kind of package does it take to get Patty Kane? David, thank you very much for the question, but I guess my answer to that would be make believe. That's the type of package that it takes to get Patrick Kane. The defense, Campbell one, we already got to this. I just like this one from Westy. What's the deal with this team? In Jerry Seinfeld voice, which is pretty good. Okay, here's another one. Is it a concern the amount of OT minutes given to 29 and 97 when they look tired from playing all the minutes in regulation? Is that on Woody? Your thoughts on this team's inability to finish past regulation, I guess?
Yeah, they've dropped 8 straight in extra time now. And they used to be automatic. And we've talked about it a bunch, where you look at the minutes that Draisaitl and McDavid play, and they're playing a ton. And, Spec wrote the article yesterday about the shift length and at 57 seconds per shift and this and that. Like, we're in the crunch time of the season. You need fresh legs. Yesterday, you're playing at altitude in Denver.
Yeah.
And then you go into extra time. Like, you could sense they were gassed, and especially playing 11 and 6.
Well, 9 forwards in the third period, essentially, right?
And then people, bringing that up. Was it Dave that brought that up?
Yeah, I think it was. Well, Dave was one of these questions. Yeah.
One of them. Okay. So, every coach that has had Leon and Connor has fallen into this same, I don't know if it's a trap,
Yeah.
but like, how hard is it to go down your bench when you need a goal and not throw 29 and 97 out there every second shift, especially when those two are always wanting to go out. They're hungry, but like you got to find that balance. And I think Jay has fallen into that same pattern, or it's just, it's so tantalizing to put those guys out there, and it's catching up to them. I think it really is. We're seeing that.
Yeah, no, I think so too. Where do you come out of the old slapper in the shootout?
That's when you're lost. That's when you're lost.
Seems like it, right? You got nothing else. You're just like, fuck it. I'm just going to rip it on net. Like
I saw him do that the other night against the Rangers, and I was like, that's when you know you don't have it. And Joaquin came in after he finished up. I think he did the Sportsnet broadcast, and then he came for a beer at Ice House, and I was like, hey, put the headset on. You're on with Cass and I. Yeah. And I said the same thing to Gager. I'm like, hey, when a guy's taking a slap shot on you in the shootout, and he's the second leading scorer in the National Hockey League, what does that tell you? And he goes, he has no confidence in this shootout. He's like, the only guys that would take slap shots in the shootout were defensemen.
Like Chara,
or
if he ever got it, or like, those guys are right. Yeah, Surrey.
Guys with cannons, you know?
Yeah.
And I think Leon just tried something because he feels lost. I don't know. He's not playing well. He's not playing well lately.
Yeah. Oh boy. Okay, so this other one,
even though he keeps scoring and putting up points, like
hasn't he scored in like three straight games or something like that?
3 or 4 straight games. But like he's giving up the puck at the blue line again. He's making those backhand passes. He's not skating to the bench hard. He's not back checking hard. He's losing a bunch of draws. You put him in the shootout and he goes and he takes the slap shot. This is the Deutschland dangler we're talking about. He's capable of better. He knows he is, and he will be better at some point. He'll wake up.
We also got people in the live chat and in some questions a little bit earlier about the Nashville Predators and could they be a trade partner? Apparently, Stoff had mentioned the big fella Janot there and Ekholm, obviously. But once again, like we have to realize, and I guess this is good for inside the numbers here with Coolbet. They have no wiggle room. Like the Golden Knights tonight just put Mark Stone on the LTIR, opening up $9.5 million in cap space here. So the Golden Knights are always in on everybody anyway. I'm assuming they're going to do something with that cap space, Tommy. Do others they can't even dress a full lineup. Like, how are they going out and acquiring $6, $7, $8, $9 million in players? It's so highly difficult to do, which then makes it unlikely, but everybody's coming up with these fantasy scenarios where you're going to move all these pieces and all these picks, but it just doesn't happen very often.
Yeah. And I know I get chastised for putting cold water on things, but I'll reiterate, like, it is money in, money out. The wiggle room that they do have when they finally decide to make a move, likely on Jesse Puljujärvi, is $3 million worth of cap space. What can you do with that?
Well, they don't even really have that because they can't even dress a full roster right now with that, right? Like,
exactly.
You need to open up enough to get 2 players in at that number, essentially.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's they have no one to blame but themselves because they've let this linger. They've kicked the can down the road. We saw it again last week, and then here we are again talking about the same shit that we were talking about on day one, thinking it would be resolved by now, and it hasn't been.
I just don't know why they haven't waived Jesse Puljujärvi. For a team that is such desperate cap situation, for a guy that has kind of been on the outs with it forever, you don't play him anyway. It doesn't, I don't get it. This doesn't make sense to me. I don't know what's going on here. It's weird.
You're hurting your team by restricting it from playing a full lineup. You're hurting the player from potentially going somewhere else and rekindling his career. Like, you're letting this fester and become worse and worse and worse. Like, do something. Make a decision. Enough already. Enough.
I don't know. Maybe we'll hear something by the time we get back to the oil stream on Wednesday. But this was a fun little Monday night chat, Tommy. I liked it. Yeah, I hope everybody had a good time popping in for a little visit with the oil stream. And hey, remember that next Tuesday we're going to be live at Boston Pizza Capilano. If you want to swing by, first 10 people pop by, say, Dusty, give me the goods. I'll hook you up with with maybe a highball or a pint of beer, something like that. It would be fun. It would be fun. All right, I will continue this conversation tomorrow morning on the Nielsen Show. Obviously, Tommy, pregame for you. What time's that get rolling?
6 o'clock, Ice House, once again, live on location. I had a lot of people coming up to me post-game the other night saying, you better be getting that perm, Gazzola. Oh. And then, did you hear about this?
No, I did not hear about this. What is this perm?
Terry Ryan went on Gregor's show one day, and he's like, you know what? We need to raise money for charity. And Tommy, you need to get a perm. And I was like, oh, my God. Okay, I'll do it if we raise enough money for charity. So, that was brought up a bunch of times when I was doing the post-game show. A bunch of guys came in after the game. They were pissed off, obviously, after the loss. And they're like, hey, Gazzola, are you actually going to get that perm? And I was like, yeah, I'll do it for charity.
Did they raise the money?
Not yet. Gregor,
okay.
Oddly enough, I ran into Gregor today at a restaurant.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, we're doing it. And I was like, okay, it better be worth a lot then. Because that's gonna mess up my hair for a good 4 months.
I don't know if putting your hair in the hands of a guy who hasn't had hair in 20 years is a good idea, buddy. I mean, you should do. You know what you should do? You should flip it on him and say, "Listen, I'll raise $10,000 for charity. You grow yours out." And
he told me he would do the Hulk Hogan.
No.
Yes.
Are you serious?
He told me that he told me when he was here the other day. Yeah.
If you do the perm, he'll do the Hulk Hogan?
He'll do the Hulk Hogan.
My God, buddy, you got to perm that hair. You got to suck it up for all of us. You got to suck it up for all of us, man.
I'm willing to do it.
I would love to see that.
Do it.
That would be hilarious.
Bleach blonde, and then he gets a goatee.
That would be amazing. God, I want to see that so bad. All right, another oil stream coming your way on Wednesday. Huge thanks to our presenting sponsor, Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen. Almost 20 locations in Edmonton and the surrounding area. DoorDash, Skip the Dishes, Uber Eats. They'll get you taken care of. So pick up a Popeyes chicken sandwich today. They got some plans here for playoffs as well. Oh, and by the way, to the person who texted in and said, hey, do you guys think the Oilers will fall out of the playoffs by the trade deadline? My answer to that would be no, because the rest of the West sucks. I mean, Calgary's the only team that's even remotely within striking distance, and they're within striking distance of a few teams, not just the Oilers. So
yeah. And they lost again today, didn't they?
They lost. Was it 4-3 the final? I think it was 4-3.
Yeah.
So yeah. So no
problem.
I don't think it's that dire of straight. Right now, that's for sure. All right, Tommy, get us out of here, buddy. I'll talk to you on Wednesday.
All right, be sure to like, share, subscribe, smash that thumbs up button. Happy Family Day.